Ernest says, hey guys, thanks for the free love. I hope to join Mastermind when my business becomes self-sufficient. I'm following the battle plan for a new site. I've ordered the press release, a syndication network, and backlinking in the last week. I wholesale real estate in a medium market. Okay, cool. It's a good business. Any suggestions on where to devote most of my resources? I plan to finish the battle plan in the next 2 weeks. Thanks for everything. Yeah, a drive stack absolutely is going to be a part of that. In my opinion, that's foundational once again. So press release, syndication, like again, just like the battle plan says, syndication network is a great start. And then a press release. But as I just mentioned, a press release is great to announce when you're starting a new website or a new business or whatever. It's kind of announcing it to the world like, hey, this is a new web property or a new business that's being started or whatever the case, my new location opening up, whatever. But then, you should start factoring in press releases as an ongoing strategy. Number one, backlinking to the syndication network, to the press release or the organization page, preferably, is a good strategy. But also remember to, maybe month 2, get a drive stack, right? And then also you're going to want to build backlinks to the drive stack. So those are some of the things that you can do. Now, this is not SEO related, but I can tell you that I'm getting good results with pay-per-click marketing in the real estate industry. For flipping properties, essentially, I'm getting good results with PPC marketing. And so I would suggest you take a look into that as well, because it will, SEO may take you a little bit of time, especially if you're wholesaling houses. I'm assuming you're wholesaling houses, but I don't know that to be true. But that's a little bit more competitive than perhaps the business that I'm in. So it may take you a little while to get some significant results with the SEO, whereas with the pay-per-click marketing, you can get results almost overnight. And also be sure to set up remarketing. Use Google Tag Manager. There's training for that you can find on YouTube and all kinds of stuff on how to set up Google Tag Manager. Create a remarketing list. You got to add the remarketing tag in Tag Manager. All of that, but then set up some remarketing ads. The Google Display Network is much, much easier to set up ads on now than it's ever been. And once you get over 100 people on your remarketing list, so 100 people that have visited your seller lead capture page, which is, I know what you're doing if you're wholesaling properties, right? Then once 100 people have visited your page, you can start serving remarketing ads. And those tend to work really well too, because if somebody lands on your page but doesn't convert, let's say that they don't turn into, they don't submit their information about their property, then you can follow them around the web for as much as 540 days with remarketing ads saying, reminding them that you're there and that you're willing to buy their property. Does that make sense? So it's a great way to get conversions out of people that have visited your site that didn't convert then, but at a later date when time and circumstance have changed their situation and they're ready at that point to make that sale, to sell their property possibly to you. You want to constantly remind them that you're there. Does that make sense? So remarketing is really, really important for that business model. I think it's important for all all businesses, period, anymore, guys. There's really no reason you shouldn't be using remarketing. And Hernan can speak to the Facebook side of it. But specifically for Google and SEO and stuff like that, I would recommend looking into PPC and certainly remarketing. No question.
Yeah, I totally 100% agree with what you just stated, because we're trying to get as many touching points with the people that are coming to our websites as possible. I read the other day that I think it was for for consumer electronics, which is a really hot niche, right? That people buy stuff online all the time. I think that there was this calculation made that people needed something like 32 touching points at this point to make a purchase, from the first touching point all the way up until they purchase something. 32 touching points. That's a long cycle. And we're talking about consumer electronics. When we're talking about real estate in general, specific wholesaling, the lead time is it could be 6 months, it could be a year, so people are going in the system right now. If you're capturing leads, they might not be ready to pull the trigger a year from now, and that's fine. you know. That's the lay of the land. So yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, Bradley, in terms of PPC and in terms of remarketing, retargeting on Facebook, right? Like, you know, even if it's like a low budget type of stuff, you know, you're leveraging really qualified traffic from Google, which is usually really qualified if people are like inputting their queries on search, and they are clicking on your website and visiting. They're really qualified, and then you can follow them around with the GDN, the Google Display Network, and the you know, Facebook as well. So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I don't see a drive stack on the list.
Well, I did mention that. I told him to get a drive stack next.
Yeah, and then but the order of progression, right? For the rest of you guys, if you're going to be ordering the battle plan and looking into it, it's you want to verify that entity. We did the entity webinar, right? Where we talk about this. It's your syndication network and drive stack. You order those, and as soon as you get your syndication network back, you put that with your drive stack order, so that then when you hit your drive stack and G site with the press release, everything will benefit. Everything attached to that drive stack and G site will benefit from the press releases. The press releases should be a stack, and then behind that, link building. So that's really the order. Your link building, you should order like at the very end when everything is set up,
right,
ready to go. That first PR is ready, you hit it, and then once your PR stack is ready, right, 4 or 5 down the line, that's around 3 or 4 is when you get all that Google love starts coming in. You hit it again, so that everything it creates like what that dude used to call it, a slipstream, right?
yeah,
Link stream, I think it was Becker. I'm thinking Alex Becker, but he used to call it.
Yeah,
So I'll give him
slipstream,
credit. A slipstream. So credit where credit is due. He is the one. He's the one who used to mention that term when thinking of linking this way, so that you're shooting a straight stream of link building juice into that drive stack and G site, and then everything that's attached to it, right? Your money sites, your inner pages, even your Google site will benefit from everything that you're doing. So hopefully, you'll take this and try to work that in, so that your next PR will benefit everything that you do, or your next set of PRs, and your link building will benefit everything in that stream.